Oh, it is. It is a Monday after Christmas, after the Christmas weekend edition of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas. I hope you gave all the gifts you needed to give and received all the gifts and love that you needed to receive. I know the Miami Dolphins received the gifts that they needed to set them up in position to control their own destiny. And my friends, heading into Monday Night Football tonight in the Caesars Superdome, I think it's now called. I can't remember the last time I've been this excited and this nervous heading into a Dolphins game. I mean, I guess it was week 17 against Buffalo last year with playoffs on the line, but it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've been able to play a game this high stakes tonight. The deck is stacked in Miami's favor, but I'll explain why history is not necessarily on the Dolphins' side. But as many people have reminded me, perspective. Did any of us think 2 months ago we'd be in a position to be playing meaningful games in late December, potentially into January? 1-7? Nah. I don't think any of us thought we'd be in position this time of year to be playing meaningful NFL games this close to the postseason. So that, my friends, is a blessing. You know what else is a blessing? The Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. This is the official sports bar of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Guys, what a great place to grab a post-holiday yet pre-New Year meal. We're still in the holiday season, guys. Head on out to the Quarterdeck. Enjoy the delicious seafood, the 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day, the awesome burgers and sandwiches, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill with locations all over South Florida. It's an amazing place to watch a big game. I know of a certain big game happening tonight. Perhaps you want to watch it at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. It's also an awesome place to watch every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge. If you want to check out their menu before you go, or find the location nearest to you, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And yes, we are brought to you by the official sportsbook of Donno Daily, full-service sportsbook available in Florida. Yes, if you want to bet on the Dolphins, bet on the Miami Heat, bet on the bowl games. Unfortunately, we cannot bet, at least not on Miami, in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl because Miami pulled out due to COVID. But there's plenty of games to bet. And the best spot to do it is America's favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com. You want to give yourself or a friend or a family member a late Christmas present? Sign them up at BetUS.com because we're giving the gift of free play money if you sign up today with our code 5RSN125. Use our code with deposit, 5RSN125. They're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. That is the best bonus in the industry on America's favorite sports book. Yes, you could use it in Florida. I say that twice because people ask me that all the time. Full service sports book, casino. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Even though my guys, Brooklyn Rob, David, others in the chat are already reminding me when I get really bullish on one of my local teams, bad things often happen. Welcome to Mush Monday. Oh, I mushed the entire Hurricane football team. Apparently, outbreak, Omicron. I hope everyone's okay, by the way. Health and safety, the most important thing. But yeah, the Hurricanes, unfortunately, will not playing in the Sun Bowl. David writes in, Donno starting off right, mushing the Dolphins. So that Groundhog Year continues. Yeah, Groundhog Year, not Groundhog Day. Also welcome Enrique into the chat. Brooklyn, Alfredo Artiaga, I should say, in the chat. Now, Alfredo usually joins us Mondays, but I want him to join me tomorrow, Tuesday instead, because I'm so accustomed to bringing on Alfredo for recaps of games. You know, no disrespect to him, but I don't necessarily want to preview a game with him. He's so good at recaps. So we're going to bring on Alf tomorrow. I'm sure he would have done a fantastic job previewing the game today, but I'd rather bring him on for the recap. So we're going to be bringing Alfredo on tomorrow. So, yeah, the Dolphins are in this unlikely position. Unlikely because a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, you never would have thought, here we are, controlling our own destiny. Now, we all feel great right now. We feel great getting the results we needed. We certainly feel confident for reasons we will discuss about this game tonight on the road in New Orleans, despite that being a tough place to play. We all feel great right now, but ESPN's FPI still give the Dolphins only a 9.2% chance to make the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that this is some kind of an end-all, be-all, because guess what? if the Dolphins win tonight, that FPI is going to go way up. So this is, it's a statistical model. There's a reason why we still employ human beings to do things, and the machines haven't taken over just yet. We're not at Judgment Day just yet. But ESPN's FPI formula gives the Dolphins only a 9.2% chance today to make the playoffs, so that statisticians do not think it's likely we pull this off. No team in NFL history, and I'm glad I see my guy Alfredo Arteaga in the chat, because he noted this on Twitter, and he noted it on a recent episode of 3 Yards Per Carry that I was listening to over the weekend. I think I listened to 3 Yards Per Carry on Christmas Day. Does that make me like the most devout listener of all time? Or it might have been Christmas Eve, whatever it was. But I was spending my Christmas holiday listening to 3 Yards Per Carry. I love that show. That was the gift that I gave myself. No team in NFL history has qualified for the postseason after a 1-7 start. So the same franchise that made history back in 1972, going undefeated 17-0, will try to make history again, being the only NFL team starting 1-7, finishing what would have to be 10-7, and making the postseason. But it's never happened before, okay? History is not on our side. But the universe might be on our side. Saturday and Sunday, the slate of games in the National Football League, watching it from a Dolphins perspective, it felt like a movie. Like, it felt like a movie playing out. It was remarkable. Every bit of help we needed, we got. Patriots lose. Check. Steelers lose. They got steamrolled, in fact. Check. Cleveland Browns lose. Thank you so much, Baker Mayfield, for sucking ass. That guy, Baker Mayfield. No matter how good his running game is, Nick Chubb, no matter how good his offensive line is, Baker Mayfield just goes out there and throws 4 interceptions. God bless you, Baker. He is the biggest Dolphins fan on planet Earth right now. The Baltimore Ravens lose. Check. The Chargers lose. And they lost to Houston. Oh, man, that made me eat a little bit of crow because, I'm kind of a closeted Justin Herbert fan. Me and Juan Cardona, we love us some Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, pick 6. That guy was hot garbage yesterday. Inject this into my veins. The Dolphins getting the help that they needed to control their own destiny the rest of the way. So the Dolphins are now in this position, and they are literally living the American dream. This country, let's not forget, the beautiful stars and stripes, we were founded on the idea of controlling our own destiny. And now here we are. The Miami Dolphins are living the American dream. And then you look into this game tonight, Monday Night Football at the Caesars Superdome against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have 21 players. 21 players. Usually a lucky number, maybe for them not so much. 21 in the COVID protocol. 4 coaches as well in the COVID protocol. Ooh. Oh, look at this. Great comment from Alfredo. Ian Book. Not so afraid of Ian Book. Ryan Tannehill? Kinda. Oh, here goes. New one. I think my light blew a fuse there. I ordered a new circle light. It should be coming soon, so it's not going to blow out all my equipment here. But yeah, that was a great comment by Alfredo. Ian Book, not so afraid of him. Ryan Tannehill, a little bit, because that's a classic revenge game. And Mac Jones, boy, does he suck right now. Mac Jones, his last 3 games has been terrible. And the only game in that stretch Mac Jones has won is a game where they literally told him, do not throw the football. Like, the only win in the last almost month that Mac Jones has is a game where he only threw the football 3 times. So this is unbelievable. But the Saints, 21 players, 4 coaches in the COVID-19 protocol. So the Dolphins, since all of this has been unfolding, the Dolphins have gone from about a 3-point underdog to a 3-point favorite right now on the road at a tough environment to play. And on that tough environment, like I don't have any false fantasies that this is going to be, a big-time pro-Dolphins crowd, because the Saints fans are going to show up. They're going to be loud. They're going to be rowdy. It's going to be like probably 90% Saints fans in that building. But, guys, it has warmed my heart talking to some friends of mine who traveled to New Orleans for that game and seeing a lot of social media posts of Dolphin fans taking over Bourbon Street, Dolphin fans filling up airplanes from MIA and FLL to New Orleans over the last couple of days. So I know there's going to be an awesome contingent there of Dolphins fans. So there's going to be a lot of Saints fans there in their building, of course, but the Dolphin fan will not be unrepresented. There are a lot of great folks who went out there. They're going to be loud and proud, screaming Dolphins. They're going to be chanting Duke tonight. So I know the Dolphins will be strongly represented. So we still have a long way to go, because I see some people on Twitter acting like if the Dolphins win tonight, they're in. We know that's not the case. Like, you need to win tonight. Then you need to win next Sunday against Tannehill and the Titans. Then you need to win the Sunday after that against crappy Mac Jones and the New England Patriots. So we still have a lot of work to do. But the Dolphins do feel like, with the way everything fell into place Saturday and yesterday, with all the teams needing to losing, and with the fact that, and listen, obviously I don't want to sound petty with this, but the Dolphins, they get a little bit fortunate with just the number of players and the number of important players, including their entire quarterback room, except for Ian Book coming down with COVID-19. You feel like the Dolphins are a team of destiny right now. So I'm going to give you, before Ethan Skolnick joins us in a few minutes, so we're going to talk Dolphins and Heat with Ethan, because the Heat are doing something really remarkable right now. It doesn't matter who's putting on the uniform. Like, it doesn't matter whether Miami's players, talking about the Heat for a second, are drafted, undrafted, summer league guys, G leaguers, two-way and former two-way players. That team just goes out there and they TCB. They take care of business. But for the Dolphins on the road at the Saints tonight, to come away with this all-important victory, and to keep forging forward, controlling our own destiny. My 5 keys for tonight, a couple of them very obvious, few of them maybe a little bit less obvious. We'll start with key number 1, given who you're going up against at the quarterback position. Blitz. Blitz like there's no tomorrow. You're going up against a rookie. Former Notre Dame Fighting Irish quarterback Ian Book. I didn't rate him at the collegiate level, and now he's making his first NFL start, playing in his first NFL game tonight against your Miami Dolphins. Miami's coverages and Miami's blitzes have confused better quarterbacks than Ian Book already this season. Now, from a New Orleans standpoint, if you're going to look for a silver lining, and I'm reaching here, because obviously Ian Book was not their first or second choice to start this game. I mean, obviously Jameis Winston out, and then if not for COVID, it would be Taysom Hill, and if not Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian. They have to turn to their 4th starting quarterback of the year. If I'm going to look for a silver lining from the New Orleans side, it's at least the Dolphins don't have any tape of Ian Book in the NFL, so maybe a little bit of an unpredictability from that standpoint, but that's really not good for New Orleans no matter how you shake it, okay? So this is going to be a very favorable matchup for Miami's defense going up against the opposing offense. Key number 2, I hope and I pray. And this is a great point by Alfredo. If anybody knows the book on Ian, see what I did there? It's Brian Flores. Brian Flores coached Ian Book at the Senior Bowl. I like that. Oh, this was a crazy story and a true story. The New Orleans Saints, not only did they place a call to Drew Brees to bring him out of retirement, they placed a call to Phillip Rivers as well to bring him out of retirement. They both said no. And it's crazy that actually happened. Like, this literally happened. The Saints called Drew Brees. They called Phillip Rivers to bring them back, one of them back to start tonight's game. They both turned them down. I made a joke about that late last week. I don't know if you guys remember the conversation, but late last week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, when we found out that Ian Book would be starting this game, I even said it. They're probably better off right now starting Drew Brees. Pull his ass off the couch. I don't care if he's been eating pizza for the last 11 months. Just pull Drew Brees off the couch. No matter what kind of condition he's in, one game situation, he gives you a better chance to win than Ian Book. I joked about that last week. I think someone from the Saints was watching, listening. They took my advice very literally, and they called him. I'm actually relieved that he said no, because everything I've said about the Dolphins being a team of destiny, if Drew Brees had actually come out of retirement to play this game, you would feel like the Saints were the team of destiny, not the Dolphins. So thank God. But for the Dolphins offense, man, attack the New Orleans Saints with the short passing game, with Tua's accuracy, Tua's quick release, and the most important thing, and it's why I bring this up as a key, Jalen Waddle is back. Jalen Waddle off the COVID list. I know the Dolphins won last week against the Jets. Despite Waddle being out, they really could have used him last week. I think he is going to be a huge part of the game plan tonight, especially early in the game, because Jalen Waddle tends to do a lot of his damage in the first quarter. They tend to go to him a lot early and often in games. Yeah. And also, loading up the deep ball, right? That's why I talk about the short passing game. Loading up the deep ball will not be easy because despite all the COVID raging through their roster, the Saints, last time I checked anyway, still have Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport at their defensive end spots. So Tua may not have much time to throw. Quick release, get it to Jalen Waddle, rinse and repeat. Key number 3. Now, I love the fact that we can even talk about this on this show because I'm a huge fan of this running back. Feed Duke Johnson, man. Feed Duke Johnson tonight. I'd like to think that the success that Duke had a week ago against the Jets was not a complete fluke, okay? He's quite obviously the most talented running back on this team right now, breaking tackles, cutting, vision, intelligence, stiff arming. Duke Johnson, unlike the other running backs, most of them on the Dolphins roster, I say most of them because Phillip Lindsay hasn't gotten a lot of burn yet, and I like Phillip Lindsay as well. But when you're talking about the regulars, right, like Myles Gaskin and Salvon Ahmed, unlike the two of them, Duke Johnson can actually earn extra yards, while the other Miami running backs can only literally take the yardage that the O-line gives them. Nothing more. They will take whatever yardage our subpar offensive line gives to them. They don't break tackles. They don't take the extra yardage like Duke. Duke Johnson last week, most remarkable part of that game that I thought, that victory against the Jets, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns scored on 22 attempts, most attempts he's had in his NFL career, right? So that was big. A good portion of that yardage that he earned last week came after contact. Key number 4, contain Alvin Kamara. Again, so many Saints have COVID and are on the COVID list. Alvin Kamara, last I checked, does not. He is not among them, okay? He will basically be tasked with carrying the entire New Orleans Saints offense on his back. Someone earlier in the chat said Kamara is going to have 30 carries tonight. He might have 40 carries tonight. Like they're really going to try to emphasize him. Now, maybe he'll only have 30 carries if the Dolphins can force a lot of 3 and outs, which won't give him a chance to have as many touches. But Alvin Kamara is going to be big. The Dolphins coming in, they've been very good against the run, especially lately. They rank 7th in the National Football League in stopping the run this season, allowing 103.7 yards per game. But that number doesn't even tell the complete story because, as you would imagine, over the last handful of games, the Dolphins have been a lot better in that statistical category than they were early in the season. Miami was terrible against the run the first 5 games of the year. They gave up 134 yards per game. Since then, they've held 6 of their past 10 opponents to under 100 team rushing yards. So the average, which is good, of 103.7 allowed per game, is actually boosted up a little bit by how poor they were earlier in the season. They've been a lot better later in the season. So that's key number 4. Final key number 5. This should seem very obvious to every Dolphins fan watching. I hope it's obvious to the players and the coaches as it is to me and you. Stay humble tonight, okay? On paper, Miami shouldn't have any problems tonight. On paper, they shouldn't, okay? The Saints are absolutely decimated. It's still a road game in a tough stadium to play in, and all the players on the Saints, despite many of them not being regulars, it's essentially The Replacements, the movie. Despite not being regulars, they're still paid professionals, and they still have some very good players who are going to be active tonight despite so many being out, okay? Over the weekend, we saw, for example, a terrible Houston Texans team pull off a huge upset against the Chargers. We saw not a terrible team, but a Colts team that was pretty ravaged by COVID still managed to beat the Cardinals on the road in Arizona. So strange things have happened this weekend. The worst feeling in the world. And I know we still have to do this 3 times, right? I mean, it's if you win tonight, it's not over. You still have to win the next 2. So we still have a lot to come yet this season. But the worst possible feeling tonight as a Dolphin fan would be you've been handed an opportunity on a silver platter. Every result you needed Saturday and Sunday, essentially you got. The only result you could have used that you didn't get was the Colts, but that didn't really even end up mattering because you got everything else handed to you. So you have everything you possibly need served to you on a silver plate. It would be the most Dolphins thing ever to go out there tonight and fuck it up. That's the story of my life. That's the story of my life as a Dolphin fan. I mean, last year, let's not forget, you went into week 17 against a Buffalo team with nothing to play for. And if you'd won that game, you'd be in the playoffs. You got blown out. I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was like 2014 or 2013. The Ryan Tannehill-led Dolphins just needed to win one of their final two games. Didn't even need to win both. Just needed to beat Geno Smith's Jets or Thad Lewis's Bills, and they lost both of them. Like, I've been a Dolphin fan long enough. Disappointment is my middle name. I don't know if you knew that. Alex Disappointment Donno. That's my full name. I've been a Dolphin fan long enough. And it's like, I've been battling, not battling, because I don't want to argue with these people because I want them to be right. But when I've tweeted things that have been like less than optimistic about Miami's chances to get into the playoffs, like, hey, it'd be really, really tough to win 9 straight games to end the year. It'd be really historic to get into the playoffs despite a 1-7 start. I noticed the people that come back to me and get mad at my pessimism are always 20-somethings. Just, they're not as battle tested as me, man. Like, if a freaking 21-year-old who comes back at me like, oh, bro, how can you even let the possibility in that we don't go, 3-0, 9-0 the rest of the way and make the playoffs? It's like, okay, how old are you? Are you a teenager living in mom's basement? Like, have you not been following this team long enough to know that you can essentially use dolphining as a verb for throwing away a playoff opportunity? I know this man knows what I'm talking about. Our featured guest of the day. We'll talk some Dolphins and some Heat with this man, Ethan Skolnick. Ethan, you're even older than I am, believe it or not.
Thanks for telling me that. I appreciate that, Donald. Thanks.
You've covered plenty of Dolphins disappointment.
I feel like Grandpa Simpson. Appreciate that.
Now, do the Dolphins right now, with everything that's transpired these last couple of days, getting all these results and going up against a team that's just decimated by Omicron tonight, does this feel like a team of destiny to you, or does it feel like a team that's about to kick us in the groin?
Well, I mean, do we want to talk about this current team, or we want to talk about past history? Because I feel like sometimes we get caught up in that. Like, it's always the stupid stat, the Dolphins are, 7-21 in these situations, and none of the players on this team played on that team. And we do that all the time in sports, right? But with that being said, I do think that you got a couple of things working against them beyond the history. Number one, it's really hard in the NFL to win 7 games in a row. I mean, stuff happens, even against the worst teams. And yeah, by a certain point of the season, we see this. We saw this yesterday with Pittsburgh and Kansas City, where there are teams going in different directions at this point of the year. And so it's emphasized more, right? So maybe what might have been a close game in the first game of the year, like, for instance, like Pittsburgh beat Buffalo in the first game of the year, right? But those teams are not in that place right now, right? And then you add to that the fact that you have Omicron and you have everything else that's going on with injuries at this stage of the season, and some teams quit when they don't really have an opportunity to make the playoffs. So you get strange results at this point of the year. But it is really hard to win 7 in a row. And so, regardless of who you're playing against, and you're not just asking him to win 7 in a row, you're asking him to win 9 in a row. The level of discipline that requires on a team that doesn't have veteran leadership is challenging. And I give Brian Flores credit for putting them back in this position in the same way that I gave Eric Spoelstra credit for the 30-11 in 2016-17, where they missed the playoffs by 1 game. But then nobody really looked back at the fact that Spo let it get to 11, as good a coach as he is, let it get to 11-30 this year. And Flores let it get to 1-7. And some of it was his doing. I mean, the Jacksonville loss, I pinned that one pretty much purely on him. The Watson stuff that was going on before the season, which I don't know, not just him, but the whole organization. From
not only before the season, during the season.
During the season. I think that from Greer on down, from Ross, I think that maybe there's a loss in there as a result of that. Maybe the not playing Tua against Indianapolis leads to a loss, right? I mean, so, and then also, not making the decision to let the defense play the way it played last year. It took too long, and it does feel to a certain degree like Brian Flores' teams play better without expectations. And that is what is concerning tonight. It's not so much the Saints. It's that there are suddenly expectations. And it's also a Monday night game. And historically, again, it's not all the same players. Historically, the Dolphins don't play very well on national television. I mean, the Adam Gase years were a perfect example of that. Again, those guys are largely gone. But, I mean, I remember Houston on a Thursday night and many, many others. So I just, it's tough to be optimistic as a Dolphin fan. And I mentioned this on Twitter, and people call me a jinx, but I don't think it's just me. I mean, I was in the press box in 2002 in New England. That was the best Dolphin team that I'd covered. They got derailed because on that night in Denver when they went to 5-1, Jay Fiedler, Rondé Gadsden, and Chris Chambers all got hurt. And then we had the Ray Lucas era. But even so, that team rallied to 9-5 when Jay came back. They went up to Minnesota. I was at that one. They had former Vikings great Chris Carter drop 2 passes, critical passes, including one in the end zone. They lose on a Gary Anderson field goal, who was about 85 years old at the time.
That was the lobster trap game, which was the worst omen ever. When Dave freaking Wannstedt brought a lobster trap into the locker room before the game, just to remind guys this was a trap game. Like he created my destiny. Like he basically had a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You know what JT used to do with those lobster traps? Whenever he put the traps up in the locker room, Jason would throw them in the garbage, and then Dave would put them back up. And then so in New England, the last game of the season, they had that game won. I mean, Ricky Williams was running roughshod all over the Patriots. It was not a great Patriot team. Yeah. They were running roughshod over the Patriots. They just needed to close that thing out. And then literally in the last 3 minutes of that game in overtime, we're about as I've never seen an NFL team blow a game quite like that. There was Alindo Murray kicking the ball out of bounds. Travis Minor made a mistake. Norv Turner asked Jay Fiedler to throw 3 times to Chambers across the middle with Terrell Buckley lurking instead of just running Ricky, which is what was working the entire game. I've never been in a locker room that defeated in my entire life. And I covered Heat Knicks. Okay, I was there for the last 3 Heat Knicks series where it looked like P.J. Brown seriously wanted to take himself out back and shoot himself. Like it was. I've never been in a locker room like that. And so, I'm scarred by it. And the reality is they haven't come that close since. I mean, that was probably the best team that they've had. 2008, they made the playoffs. We knew that team wasn't going anywhere. 2016, pretty much the same thing. And then, you also have the recent years with Tannehill not winning in Buffalo, late in the year when they sort of had things tied down. So I get the scarring for Dolphin fans. It's totally there. And then, I want to believe more in this group because some of these kids don't know any better, right? Jalen Phillips, Jalen Waddle, Javon Holland, getting these guys back like that, they're going to play more loose and free because they don't have the burden of those expectations. So as we go to City Cigar Lounge tonight, I'm not being blamed for this. This will be the Dolphins if they lose. It's not me. As we go to City Cigar Lounge tonight and we watch this, I just want to – I want them to play free. I just want to see what they can do playing free. And just you hope for the best, but you expect the worst. And I think that's really where you are as a Dolphin fan. And again, if they don't accomplish this, I don't think it's an indictment on their future because asking a team to win 9 straight regular season games in the NFL, I mean, how many have actually done that? And this is not a juggernaut. This is not Patrick Mahomes, okay? I think what we wanted to see when they were 1-7 was growth from Tua, growth from the young players, some commitment, some fight. We've seen that, okay? So now, honestly, if they won 2 of their last 3 and missed the playoffs, I'm not going to bang them for it. Like, I know our guy Juan Cardona had him at 9-8. I had him at 10-7. We thought that's about what they would be. And it's just, you can look back at Jacksonville and Atlanta and the Raiders games and say, okay, maybe even the Colts games could have had those. But you didn't. And so I will say, I'm not expecting the best tonight. I only hope that it's not this, Alex. I hope it's not that they win the next 2 and then blow it against New England in the finale. Yeah. That would be the worst.
Or blowing it against Tannehill would also be really bad.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about if they do just only win 2 out of the next 3 and miss the playoffs, it's not an indictment on the team. Also, in that same scenario, would you agree that should not be, and it's going to depend on how these games play out, of course, that there's more, the devil's in the details, but if they only win 2 out of the next 3, that should not be an indictment on Tua Tagovailoa either. And Alfredo
No.
Arteaga and I talked about this last week. There are some Dolphin fans who are basically saying if they only win 8 out of their last 9, that means Tua is not the guy. But if they win 9 out of their last 9, then that means he is the guy. It's
Right.
like we should be like he's got more than a season-long sample size now in the books. We should be past the point where every game is make or break. And I'm not saying Tua is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. People who watch me day to day know that I've been critical and unconvinced about Tua at times, but I will remind people that even the best quarterbacks in the NFL have stinkers every now and again. I mean, a week and a half ago, Tom Brady was shut out. Like it happens. Again, Tua is not Tom Brady, but you can't just go game by game. And I know that the Deshaun Watson thing is still looming for some people. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't see him clearing up the legal stuff even by this offseason. But I mean, to me, if things don't go well tonight, or if they don't go well against the Titans or against the Patriots, that shouldn't be the deciding factor one way or the other on Tua.
No, I don't think so. But I think for some fans there will be. There is a contingent. We're seeing it now with Duncan Robinson now and others. There's a contingent that I feel, and it might be a Twitter phenomenon. I don't know. I mean, sometimes we overrate what really happens on Twitter. I mean, only 10% of even big, Dolphin and Heat fans are using it. So so we tend to amplify like the same 12 voices. But it does feel like every time a mistake is made, there's this group ready to come out from in the woodwork, and they can't be happy about anything else. They just have to be miserable about this. And as far as Tua goes, I mean, I think what we've seen this year is that if you create good conditions around him, he can succeed. But B, there are times he can overcome the conditions. And I think that second question we really didn't have the answer to. But we have seen lately with his receivers going out, with rotating running backs, with the offensive line playing better but still not elite by any means, that he has adjusted the way that he plays, gotten rid of the ball quicker, become even more accurate. There still are 1 or 2 passes a game that you're kind of like, and I don't think his last game was his best. But again, Patrick Mahomes has had bad games this year. Justin Herbert has had bad games this year. Okay, Aaron Rodgers had a couple games this year that were not great. Tom Brady, you took away all of his receivers in that one game, and they got shut out. Okay, I just, it happens. But Tua's not afforded that luxury. I don't understand it. It's from the national folks. It's also from some Dolphin fans who just are always going to throw, it's got to be about Herbert, or it's got to be about Watson, or it's got to be about somebody else. I'll just say this. Would you rather have Tua than the 3 quarterbacks that were drafted the first round this year? Because I think I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, they didn't miss on him. This idea that they missed on him, there you go. There's from that New England game of classes. Brady's, Alfredo's your worst game in which he engineered a fourth quarter comeback victory. Yep. I mean, that game was a disaster.
Yeah.
But it's just, he's not afforded that for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, he's an Alabama quarterback, but people seem to like Mac Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't really get it. I mean, he doesn't bring it on himself. Am I convinced he's going to be a multi-time Pro Bowler? No. Do I think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league for a long time? Yes. And I think there are some quarterbacks that have been drafted here in the past 2 or 3 years you cannot say that about. The reality is you don't always find a top 5 quarterback, okay? But you can win with a top 15 quarterback if you put the right pieces around him. I don't think there's any question he can be that. I think he has answered that, okay? Yeah. I think when you look at not just quarterback rating, but just general efficiency, his ability to play well in the fourth quarter, which to me is absolutely critical, the accuracy, the awareness, he's a top 15 quarterback. Now, does he get to top 5? I mean, did we know that Aaron Rodgers was going to be top 5? He didn't play for 3 years, okay? Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith. Tua was thrown out there after a hip injury with really very little talent around him, and everybody is just ready to throw him out with every one interception. I don't understand it, particularly from Dolphin fans who literally, and I don't disparage Jay. I have a relationship with Jay, and Jay won here, okay?
You did.
But since Jay, okay, other than a year of Chad Pennington, okay, some flashes from Henny, Tannehill a couple of times, particularly that last year before he got hurt. Farrat was pretty good that one season under Saban. I mean, but other than that, like, it's been a 2-decade wasteland, and you've got a guy who actually is giving you a chance to win games by adjusting his style of play, and Dolphin fans are still unhappy. I don't, and I'm not, and again, I don't want to say all of them, because I do think the majority, when I'm at the stadium, there are a lot of Tua jerseys, okay? It's Twitter, and it's Especially it's Facebook.
Yeah, I
Just stay off of
I think
Facebook.
in real life it's like 70-30 in favor of Tua, and on
Right.
Twitter it's 50-50.
And on Facebook, it's 30-70.
I don't even go on Facebook anymore.
And I have a theory on that. That's a demographic thing on Facebook.
Ah.
I believe I have a theory on that. I think if Tua was, a strapping white kid from Northern California, I think that might look a little different based on what you see on Facebook. But it's disappointing to me that this community as a whole hasn't rallied behind him, because I feel like he's done the right things. And Javier's right. Jared Goff got carried, and we have seen now what Jared Goff is, right? Like he's not good. He's not good, and he was the number 1 overall pick. Like that guy's not going to be a starter very much longer. He got a second chance only because of his pedigree. That's it, and because Detroit needed someone to plug a hole. You don't think they're going to draft somebody? Of course they are. So I don't know, Alex. I want them to succeed, honestly, for him more than anybody else. Okay, but
right.
Could win 9 straight, get to the playoffs, have a bad playoff game, and everybody out on him again. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I think I could bring some perspective on like the anti-Tua stuff. And I've never been full on anti-Tua, but I've been very much a skeptic, and I'm coming around. I can only speak for me, because I know for some people I know, I just think they wanted Deshaun Watson so badly that it just created a natural bias. That wasn't really the case for me. I did think they were going to make that move, but I didn't want them to make that move. I think for me, just the 2 big questions I've always had about Tua, and he's really debunking at least one of these, the arm strength, but he makes up for so much of that with his accuracy. And I think the arm strength is a little bit better than I gave him credit for.
Right.
Because I think the hip affected that last year more than a lot of people realize. So I'm no longer hung up about the arm strength thing so much. And also the durability. And listen, when you're on, a 6-game winning streak, and he's been healthy now for a good stretch here, it makes you forget about that a little bit. And we all know that if they can build up the O-line better, that's going to put him in a better position to stay healthy. So those were the big ones for me. I had nothing personal against Tua whatsoever. I was so excited when they drafted him. That's the guy that I wanted. I just had big time questions about the arm strength, not so much anymore, because he makes up for it in so many ways, specifically with the accuracy and the durability. I'm forgetting about that a little bit. So that's just where I'm coming from. I'm sure there are plenty of other factors, like the Facebook factor that you outlined, but for me, my doubts primarily came from those things.
Yeah, and the durability thing I think is a little unfair, and I've said this before. Big folks on Parler hate Tua.
Does Parler still exist?
I don't know. I know which Dolphin beat writer's probably leading that. Former Dolphin beat writer. I'll say this. I'm pretty cool with Tua on MySpace. I think on TikTok he'd probably do well. I'll say this, okay, about the durability.
Yeah.
To me, the term injury prone, and I've said this before, is unfair, because freak things happen. Bam Adebayo is now going to be out another 4 or 5 weeks. Is he injury prone? I mean, if he injures is he injured? I mean, the guy played 3 straight years without missing a game. Jimmy Butler misses a lot of time. Are we going to call him injury prone?
I think I have before, but I probably shouldn't.
Oh, well, okay, but if you look at Tua, to me, it's not injury. You say injury, Devontae Parker was injury prone, because I can't characterize him that way, because he wasn't obviously conditioning himself, and people in the team said that, and former Dolphin receivers like Chris Chambers said that. That made him injury prone, because he wasn't conditioned, and he was having a lot of soft tissue injuries, hamstring stuff, that kind of stuff. Tua literally broke his hip, okay? Yeah. I mean, and then came back from it quicker than anybody else. So are you injury prone if you're also a fast healer? Because he healed a year before everything else. So now we're going to call him injury prone because he broke a finger, because he got a bad snap? That makes you injury prone? Literally, that could happen to Justin Herbert tomorrow. The biggest strapping quarterback that exists out there, that could happen to, okay? Another example I use, Dan Marino, okay, and Brett Favre, both were characterized as injury prone in college. Dan blew out the knee, and literally until he hurt the Achilles, okay, he couldn't move anymore, but until he hurt the Achilles in 93, pretty much played 10 years without missing a game, okay? Was he injury prone? Okay, Brett Favre has the longest consecutive game streak in NFL history. He missed a whole season in college. I don't, this idea that you're injured, again, if you're not conditioning yourself, you don't come back quickly from injuries, or you keep re-injuring the same thing, maybe that's a fair characterization.
Yeah.
I don't know how a finger that he wanted to play through, but his coach wouldn't let him play through, suddenly makes him injury prone. Now, does durability matter in the NFL? Of course, especially at that position. Do you need, maybe because he's a little smaller than the average guy, to make sure you have a more capable backup than you had this year when you thought Brissett was going to be that? Yes, okay? But this idea that he's injury prone is not the issue. My issue is, can he make all the throws? Does he make good decisions? Not in that order, by the way. He makes generally good decisions. His accuracy is elite. His release time is elite. His awareness is elite. His arm strength is pretty much average for the position. His mobility is slightly above average, not much more than that, but he has an idea of when to go and when not to. You can win with him. Okay? I mean, I just, that's my thing, okay? And there are some quarterbacks around the NFL that I'm watching that you cannot win with.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's where we're at. I'm rooting for him, and I don't root, but I'm rooting for, and I don't even know him. Like, that's the whole funny thing.
I don't know. I've never met the man, and very few people have met him because they're doing everything over Zoom these days.
Right, we haven't had a chance. I mean, there are Heat players who went, to the finals in the bubble, who I never met, and they're gone. I mean, that's the era that we're living in now. I mean, the big three Heat, like, I had 15 phone numbers on that team. I knew everybody. It's just a different time. So I don't know this. I don't have a horse in this race, except, and I'm not even a Dolphin fan, but as a Dolphin observer for the past 20 years, I feel like he gives them a better chance to win than the majority of quarterbacks that they've had. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And let's finish there.
Well, actually, I want to finish here because I can't let you run.
I didn't mean we have to finish the interview. No, I didn't finish the thought.
Fair. And I do want to let you run in a moment, but I can't let you run without talking a little bit of Miami Heat.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the last 5 on the Floor episode, and so much of what you said, I agree with. I've been saying similar things, articulating a little bit differently. I like what you said about how this is probably the best developmental season in Miami Heat history. It's been remarkable, Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
For all the time, and Jimmy came back last night, but for all the time that Jimmy was out and Bam being out, who's still out, and PJ has been out. Kyle Lowry was in the protocol yesterday. Markieff has been out forever. Tyler Hero was out for a bit. It's like, it doesn't even, outside of a few blips on the radar, like the awful loss in Detroit recently, but for the most part, it doesn't really even seem to matter who suits up, when they were drafted, if they were drafted, whether they're a two-way guy or a former two-way guy. There have just been so many amazing developmental stories. I mean, the way that Max Strus has been playing, the way Gabe Vincent has been coming on recently. We've gotten some big games from KZ Okpala.
Right.
Omer Yurtseven gets his first start and has an incredible game yesterday with 15 boards and 16 points. It's like, it's really remarkable. So my question to you is, how much better equipped is this going to make the Heat for the stretch run in case they do have more injuries and more COVID? Because I love the fact that Eric Spoelstra has had so many different 9-man rotations this year, and that you're getting experience, big time, big game experience, sometimes starts for guys who would normally not even be hitting the floor. Now, you'd like not to have to use some of these guys in the playoffs because you'd like to have, a healthy regular rotation. But to me, building this depth, I think is going to be very crucial come, the dog days of February, March, April, when you're playing for seeding.
Yeah, well, that's what it's for. And that's what has been important about this. This has gotten you through that stretch, right? And it will maybe get you through another stretch, because I don't think the injuries or the COVID are over, right? So the fact that you have 12 pieces, I know our friend Chef Shirley is like, I feel bad for these young guys. The reality is, these young guys are still going to get an opportunity, because I don't think we're ever going to be in that 9-man rotation. Like, you look at the 2012-2013 season where the Heat won 27 in a row, and Eric was rolling out the same 9 every single game. It was, it was the big three, Haslam and Chalmers starting, and then he was bringing Cole and Battier and Allen and Anderson off the bench. And then when Dwayne decided to sit, he started Mike Miller, and that was it. You knew the rotation every single night. You're not going to get to that this year. So these other guys are going to get a chance to play, and it gives Eric a chance to tinker. I do think, and this is the one point I didn't make last night, but we probably will in a future episode, ultimately, this is great, and it helps you kind of get to the right seed you want, even with the injuries, and it maybe gives a rest to some guys that are going to need a rest. I don't think Lowry being off now, as long as he's not real sick for 2 weeks, is really the worst thing in the world. He was playing a lot of minutes. I think it's probably good. He's gotten some time with all these players. Now you want to see him come back with Jimmy and Bam. I think it's fine. But ultimately, you win a championship if your best players play great. And so this is great to get them there. But ultimately, if they're going to win a title, and I think they have a shot, honestly, I really do. But if they're going to win a title, it's going to be about Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle primarily, and Tyler. And that's the other pieces are nice, and it's good that if Duncan's not shooting well, he can go to Max. Or he wants to play smaller off the bench, he can go to Caleb. Or maybe wants to go bigger, he plays Dedmon or Markieff Morris. I think it's terrific to have all of these options. And it also gives them some trade options, which is not a bad thing either. And it also means you don't put pressure on Oladipo to come back sooner than maybe he has to, right? So I think all of this is good, but ultimately, the Miami Heat will win a championship if their best players, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, and Tyler Hero, are good enough to beat the best players on the Nets and the best players on the Bucks and the best players on Chicago and maybe the best players on Golden State or Phoenix or Utah. That is ultimately what matters. But this has been really healthy for them. It's also cemented Erik Spoelstra's status. For those who don't know, he's literally the best at what he does. And I think he's better with this kind of team. I've said that. Yeah. When he has a lot of expectations and a lot of veteran guys, sometimes the communication's not there. There's some frustration. With this group, they owe their careers to him. That makes it a little bit easier.
True or false? The emergence of Max Strus makes Duncan Robinson expendable.
I think Duncan Robinson was always expendable for Pat Riley because I don't think Pat was necessarily sold. I know this on re-signing him. That was a Spoelstra thing primarily. I think there's trade-offs that are made inside the organization. There's also value to Duncan beyond his play because that contract becomes a piece. Sometimes. This is what fans don't get. Sometimes the bigger contract actually has more value to you as a team because if you need to make a trade, you have something to throw into a trade if the teams are up against the cap. So this idea about the contract, I don't know why people are freaking out about Duncan's contract for this year, maybe a couple of years from now. But for now, trust me, the Kyle Lowry contract was going to be more concerning in 2 years than the Duncan Robinson contract. Okay, I don't understand why that is the issue right now, but. I do think that Max's emergence may make it easier for maybe Eric to let go a little bit if Pat wants to make a move. I don't think Pat was ever convinced of this. I mean, the thing for Pat is, and this was kind of why his reaction to my question at the press conference, caught my attention. I said, Duncan, has expressed a desire to be able to play his way into the closing five. Not the starting five, the closing five. And it was I said he wasn't pushing, he wasn't, saying I have to, but it's an ambition of his. And Pat's response was, well, if he's on a bad team, he can. That was his
I don't remember that one.
Wow. Yeah. It was his immediate reaction to my question. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like that, because, but it's funny. And then he backtracked it and kind of talked about how Tyler's more multidimensional because I think you realized what he said, but that was the gut reaction. And the reason I guess it didn't surprise me that much is because I'd heard that behind the scenes it was more of a Spoelstra decision than a Riley decision to retain him at that price. Okay, and I'm not saying it was just Eric. There are others in the organization. Obviously, Mickey, Andy, Nick, many others, Adam Simon. They have a say in this process. Okay, but I just know if you're saying if it was one or the other, it was more Spoelstra than Riley. So I think that when you look at kind of where they are with Duncan Robinson, I think that there shouldn't be panic about his play. I want to see what Duncan looks like for an extended period with the starting group. I think he is a complementary piece. He is not a lead piece. Now, Max Strus is not a lead piece, but Max Strus can carry you for periods of time. He's a different type of player. He's more ignitable, as Spoelstra says. He's more athletic. He's more dynamic. He can do more things. Duncan is a better pure shooter when the circumstances are correct for him. The circumstances have been all over the place. He's not been able to elevate his game with the exception of a couple of games. I'm not going to ignore that, but I'm just saying with Bam and Jimmy, he fits, particularly with Bam. And I want to see what that looks like before I hand over his starting job to Max Strus. I do think ultimately Tyler Hero, may be starting in the playoffs, but we always know that Spoelstra likes to hold one card. He did it with Dragic in the bubble. There's always one card. There's something different that he's been looking at all year. He's not sure, and then it's go time. We saw it with Mike Miller in the finals a few years ago. He's done this many, many times. I can see a scenario where Tyler Hero is put in the starting lineup, depending on matchup in the playoffs. But it's not. I don't think it's going to happen in the regular season.
Couple things I'm feeling a lot better about lately. The luck that Ethan Skolnick brings is he was in attendance at Heat Magic the other night, and he didn't mush them.
My daughter was with me. My daughter was with me, Alex. She's 4-0.
Might be the good. That might have canceled you out.
And Brady was in the building too. So I feel like Brady was there for the comeback win the other night. I feel like it's more that. I don't think it has anything to do with me. But since Alfredo was watching. Alfredo has been, to his credit, has attended pretty much every watch party we've ever had. He's missing tonight. If the Dolphins win, we know who the issue was. Wasn't me.
And also, like, I feel better about the watch parties because we did have one to watch a Heat game a couple weeks ago, and they won in Philadelphia, so that was good. Tell people where they can find the Five Reasons Sports crew tonight.
City Cigar Lounge is downtown Miami. It's a couple of blocks from the arena. It's a great place. They've got like 350 different types of liquor. They've got obviously cigars. They got $7 specials on a whole bunch of stuff today because the Dolphins have won 7 straight. I know people are COVID concerned. We're going to keep it as safe as possible tonight. But also, we're going to have a small crew from us, but just come watch the game with us. It's going to be fun. Like I said, it's real close. And we're going to start doing, once things start, as the Dolphins move out, they move more into just Heat. We're going to start doing some pre and post game parties there. So come check the place out. Maybe I'll buy a round. Who knows? Come to City Cigar Lounge in downtown Miami.
I love it. Make sure you follow Five Reasons Sports on Twitter. Ethan does the tweets from that account at Five Reasons Sports, and also follow his personal account at Ethan J. Skolnick. Ethan, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you, sir.
I love it. Man, it's been a fun show today. It's a huge game tonight, my friends. Dolphins can get it done. Somebody mentioned in the chat a little bit earlier, Dolphins offensive line going up against the defensive ends from the Saints. That's going to be the biggest challenge, honestly. Like when you talk about individual matchups, that's why I mentioned getting rid of the football quickly because Tua's not going to have a lot of time to throw. That's why it's so important having Jalen Waddle back this week from the COVID list because he provides such a great outlet for Tua, and they always seem to know what the other is thinking. And you'd like to be able to get the running game going again between the tackles. Duke Johnson was fantastic last week. If Duke can even be, and despite the absences, especially at linebacker, like the Saints defense is very good. They're not whole tonight. They're missing some really important pieces, but it's still probably going to be a tougher matchup than the Jets defense last week. So if Duke can be even 80% this week of what he was a week ago, I think the Dolphins will be in good shape. And blitz the living you-know-what out of Ian Book tonight. Just try to confuse him. 4th starting quarterback, 4th stringer, rookie, first NFL game. I didn't think this kid was that great at Notre Dame. I hope the Dolphins can expose Ian Book tonight. Oh, I love, by the way, Alfredo. Alfredo gets saddled with the blame. Like all of a sudden, the old watch party curse gets put on Alfredo Arteaga. Me and Adam Gase did this, he says. Guys, I want to remind you to support some of our awesome sponsors. One of the newest partners we have here on Donno Daily. We are a proud affiliate of BlockFi. BlockFi, my friends, allows you to earn 8% APY on your crypto. Yeah, crypto. Been a very hot topic over the past year or so. I'm all in with crypto since 2020. I know some people who have been into it years longer than I have, which means you're probably a lot richer than I am. Like if you got into Bitcoin in like 2011, I should be asking you guys to loan me money right now. But man, I've been having an awesome time with my cryptocurrency. And we are now a BlockFi affiliate. You see it right there. Earn 8% APY in crypto. You can check it out at blockfi.com. We actually have a referral link. If you go into the show description, click on our referral link. If you sign up at BlockFi, please do, and please use our referral link so we get credit for it. Not only can you earn 8% APY, you can also sign up for the BlockFi Signature Rewards Visa, where you can make unlimited 1.5% back in Bitcoin. How about that, man? To the moon, my friends. Make sure you check out our official sports bar of Donno Daily. We had a couple weeks ago, we had a winning Heat watch party at the Quarterdeck in Davie. I love that location. The patio is awesome. But whether you're at the Quarterdeck Davie, the Quarterdeck Sawgrass, right by Sawgrass Mills, and the FLA Live Arena where the Panthers play, Fort Lauderdale Beach, the Dania Beach Pier location, you feel like you're on vacation out at the Dania Beach Pier. Wherever you are, whatever Quarterdeck location you love the most, you're at an awesome place to watch the big games and just unbelievable place to eat and drink. I mean, guys, oh man, the fresh fish, the fresh mahi-mahi. I love the buffalo shrimp at the Quarterdeck. I love the sushi, and I love to build my own poke bowl. The burgers are awesome. The All-American burger, it's one of my favorites. They always cook it perfectly to your specifications. The sandwiches are great. One thing I love about the Quarterdeck, low-key, this is awesome. It really shouldn't be low-key because everyone should know about this. The side order options are out of this world, man. Tater tots, curly fries, classic fries, sweet potato fries, mac and cheese, baked potato. Oh, it'll make your head spin. There's so many options for sides at the Quarterdeck. The Quarterdeck has drink specials, 2-for-1 happy hour. Literally never ends. The 2-for-1 happy hour is all day, every day. It's a great place to watch NFL games, great place to watch Miami Heat basketball. Bowl games. We didn't talk much about the Canes today. I don't know how much there is to say. They're not going to the Sun Bowl because they've got too much COVID on the team. They're not traveling. A bit of good news we did get for the Hurricanes, though. Lou Hedley is coming back for another year. The guy's 28 years old. He's still in college. I love it. He's living my dream, man, to still be in college at that age. It's fantastic. But yeah, check out all the big games and all the big fights, every UFC pay-per-view for zero cover charge at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And my friends, since July here on this show, I have been preaching the gospel of BetUS.com, America's favorite sports book, the 3-decade leader. They're in their 27th NFL season, full-service sports book. They have not been suspended like that app that some of you were using that was here and then it was gone. BetUS.com is always here for you. Yes, it is available in Florida. Hallelujah. You can use BetUS.com in Florida. Full sports book, including live betting. They got a full casino right there on the site, man. I play blackjack for real money in there all the time. They got slot games, all sorts of table games. It is so much fun. Find out why I am so enthusiastic about BetUS.com. In fact, we've got a gift for you. The best bonus in the industry. Sign up today at BetUS.com with our code. When you make your deposit, type in our code 5RSN125. 5RSN125. And they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. So if you deposit $100, for example, they're going to give you $125 of free play money on top of your deposit. You're going to more than double your deposit. It's fantastic. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Want to send some shout-outs before we wrap it up. David writes in, Lou Hedley can be somebody's dad. Honestly, he might, for all I know, he might be. I don't know anything about his personal life. I don't know if he's got children, grandchildren. I don't know what his deal is. But yeah, I mean, 28 years old. He could I don't know. I don't think he has kids, but I'm not positive. Oh, we got a Saints fan in the chat. Hello. Who dat for life? Saints need this win. Both these teams need the win. 7-7, fighting for playoff spots. This is a brutally important game for both of these teams. Of course, we look at it from a Dolphins perspective. I'm not going to ignore the Saints perspective either. The odds are stacked against New Orleans tonight with all their absences. But I'm not going to wish you good luck, but I do wish you a good game. And I love New Orleans, the city. Fantastic place to be. Oh, how about this? Rob, wow, was that a BlockFi promo? My man. Yes, dude. Rob, you should know I love crypto, and I'm very proud that we can be a BlockFi affiliate. So please, guys, sign up with my code if you're interested in signing up at BlockFi. It's awesome, and I'd love it if we get the credit for it if you use our referral link in the show description down below. David, thank you so much for tuning in today. Oh, yeah, he's telling Alfredo it's not his fault if the Dolphins lose. It's always my fault. I am the mush around these parts. I know Brooklyn Rob agrees. I would lend you money, Mush, but you could not afford the VIG. Yeah, there's a lot of juice when Brooklyn Rob takes my bets. I'll be okay with betus.com. I bet, I win, I get paid. Sometimes, if I'm not mushing games, then I get paid. But I do pretty well. As long as I follow Barry Barker's advice and Lee Sterling's advice and the daily stakes, I'm good to go, man. Alf, thank you so much for tuning in. Spammer from Russia, thank you for tuning in as well. Other spammer from Russia, guys, whatever you do, if those are links, do not click them because I don't know where those links lead to. As long as the clicks of the spammers to this show count, I will allow it. But yeah, I don't think those are real people. I don't know. Dougie Fresh, another one of my favorites. He was sending us messages about this is funny. Parler and MySpace tried to aggregate into My Parler, but apparently Deshaun Watson had it first. That's like a great dad joke, but it's like a dad joke, but it's also probably like too mature for some children, but I like it. It's funny. Who else? Justin, thank you so much. Ooh, what do we got here? What is this? Show me what this video is, Manny. That's a robot? Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Is he gonna make the shot? Oh my God, he made a free throw. Is there any way we can trade Duncan Robinson for this robot? That is crazy. Bro, have we learned nothing from movies? Honestly, like there are actually scientists out there trying to create a real life Jurassic Park as if they hadn't seen the movie Jurassic Park. They made like 7 sequels. They all end badly. Okay. We got people trying to create artificial intelligence, Terminator, The Matrix. It always ends badly for humanity. Let's just focus on human beings, bros. Oh, this is crazy. That robot. Oh my God. Let's see who else. I think I already shouted out Justin here. Javier, thank you so much for tuning in. Brandon Flood says we can't explain the Tua hate. It's hard to explain. Maybe someday we'll do an entire show on it. If I was going to get into it again now, we'd be here for another 3 hours. And I got places to be, my friends. Let's see who else. Enrique, thank you for tuning in. Wade LeBron, great username. Thank you. Jordan L. Oh, he's the one who asked, we just talked about this. Do I have faith in the Dolphins O-line versus the Saints D-line? Not particularly, but, Tua has actually shown a good ability to get by despite poor O-line play, quick release, accuracy. I think we're going to be all right. I think we can overcome it. Anush, thank you so much for tuning in. It's sad but true. Daniel, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Who else? A lot of scrolling. We scrolling. Oh, my guy, Cliff Esmiol. I know he'll be watching the game tonight. Look for a heavy run game from the Saints. Yeah, I mean, probably the best player that they have healthy on their defensive ends are good, but on offense, the best player that they have healthy is Alvin Kamara. They are going to try to force that run game for sure. Thank you so much for the message, Cliff. Shake Money, thank you so much for tuning in. We got a lot of people in the live chat today, so if I missed anybody, don't take it personally. I'm doing my best to scroll and try not to throw any repeat shout outs out there. Looking for new people I haven't shouted out yet. Another Russian spammer. This might be our record. I think we had because I skipped a couple. We got Russian spammers all over the place. Thank you so much, comrade. I love the interaction with show. It's beautiful. VK or VLKV, thank you so much. Let's crush him. Go Fins. Indeed. I'm a little nervous for tonight. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited and I'm nervous. Courtney, thank you so much for tuning in. Zachary B, another chronic regular. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you for making my time your time today, if that makes any sense. Let's see who else. By the way, if anyone caught me this morning, I was filling in for Joe Rose on 560 WQAM 6 to 10. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow as well. I was kind of tired today because the show starts very early, 6 a.m. I wake up at 4:30 for that. I'm going to be doing it again tomorrow tomorrow morning, 6 to 10. I'm going to be really tired tomorrow because I got to stay up and watch the Dolphins. I'm praying for a blowout. Like, I am praying for a blowout. I can go to sleep in like the third quarter for my 4:30 a.m. wake up call. It's going to come down to the final play, though, one way or the other, knowing my luck. Let's see, who else can I shout out that I haven't seen? I hope my guy, I'm surprised GA Kane fan. I didn't see him in the chat. He's usually a regular. Let me shout out myself. I threw out a message. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. And I stand by that. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I got a new coffee machine. I got a new Inter Milan jersey. And my kid got a bunch of new toys. So his toys become my toys because I'm a child at heart. So he's got like Hot Wheels cars. He's got this ramp with the loop-de-loop that you launch the Hot Wheels car. I'm not afraid to admit there have been a few times since Saturday where I've played with the Hot Wheels cars when he's not even around. It's a lot of fun, man. So, yeah, God bless everyone. Hopefully, let's get a big Dolphins victory tonight. Huge shout out to Manny Chang for making the show go. I appreciate you, Manny. Ethan Skolnick for joining us. We will talk to everybody again tomorrow. You know, something I want to do tomorrow, and I hope Alfredo is up for it because I want to do like a little mini Dolphins roundtable tomorrow where we bring on Alfredo and Big John Stud and react to the game tonight. And, you know, hopefully we're reacting to a win. And I can just kind of sit back and let like Big John Stud yell and let Alfredo, you know, bring up stats and stuff. And I think it'd be some fun if we do like a mini Dolphins roundtable tomorrow. So I hope everyone had a fun time today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's go Dolphins. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow on another episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.